Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Mind. Today we are joined by head softball coach Summer Anagnostopoulos. And coach, just finished up the season here. How are we feeling postseason now?
Yeah, it was an interesting season, that's for sure, being my first time as a head coach. And my assistant coach being my husband, and us getting to work full time together for the first time. And we had a lot of young players coming in and a lot of transfers, and didn't really know what it was going to look like early on. And but throughout the season we figured it out and learned how to win a little bit. And overall, I'm really, really excited for what this program has to come.
Yeah, so we'll talk about, when you first got hired. You got here very late on the coaching cycle. Didn't even have a full summer. Got here in August or something like that. So you didn't even know what your full roster would look like. Just walk me through that and how that experience went for you.
Yeah, so I came from a junior college, which is a little bit different, of course, than a four-year. So I'm pretty used to the turnover of having a lot of new kids and getting rid of a lot of new kids. So coming in, I was pretty comfortable being able to learn my kids' personalities and how our team was going to function relatively quickly. My first day was the first week of September, so we were kind of starting. We played our first fall game in 2 weeks, so we had to get things going relatively quickly. But we were excited. We just wanted to get to know them as people and then learn what they were going to be capable of on the softball field as well.
Yeah, definitely. So talk about your season a little bit. 19-34 record. You guys went 500 in the conference, 14-14. Kind of came down to the end there. You guys won 5 of your last 6 games to get in the tournament, right?
Yeah, it was. Again, early on, we had a really tough preseason or pre-conference schedule, and we told the girls early on that we're going to face some adversity, and but this is what we want for the future of this program, and this is the level that we want to play at. And they were a little bit confused at first, I don't know what these guys, might be a little crazy, but they bought into it really, really quickly, and facing that adversity and moving into conference play, and that really gave us that little edge. A lot of teams in our conference hadn't played that much adversity in their preseason schedule, and so I think that definitely gave us the upper hand when the end of the season came up and we worked ourselves into the conference tournament.
Yeah, so in your non-conference schedule, you guys face some tough competition. You also face a lot of rain delays and cancellations, all that kind of stuff. But overall, you guys started the season 0-11. You guys still make your way into the conference tournament.
Yeah. Again, being a first-year head coach, that wasn't really what I had envisioned for what my first year was going to look like. Probably the exact opposite. I've been a part of some successful programs and see what that looks like and what it takes. And coming from the fall into the spring, and I knew that the girls had it in them. And so it was a little bit of a shock at the very beginning. But again, we were really honest with the girls, look, these things are going to happen. Success doesn't always look super, super fantastic at the very beginning. You have to grind it out sometimes. And softball's a game, where the best team doesn't always come out on top. And that goes our way sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. And so we had to really rely on one another early on, and I don't know, it was stressful for a lot of us, coaching staff, players included, and we were honest with them and had some great conversations of encouragement and this is the growing pains that it's going to take for us to get where we want to be.
Yeah, talk to me about that last regular season series. You guys were on the road at Rockers, and it came down to that last game. You win that one 5-4 to get into the tournament. Yeah,
oh gosh, it's one of those games of softball that you don't see very often. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever seen a game of softball like that. It was wild. So we're losing going into the last inning, and Rockers pitcher, she's throwing a no-hitter, and the coach chooses to take her out, and I was like, okay, this is our chance if something's going to happen. And we had the bottom of our lineup coming up, 7, 8, 9, and they put the ball in play, and that's all you can ask for in those situations. Right. Swings and misses don't get you very much. So putting the ball in play was a big part of that. And those kids came up, and we had runners on first and second, no out with our 1 and 2 up, and it was exciting. I was like, okay, this is where we need to be at to make this happen. And those kids, they hit the ball well. It just didn't fall, and so we have 2 outs now. And again, our kids just continued to put the ball in play and give us a chance, and it ended up in our favor.
And
so
were you and Michael in that game, the scoreboard watching around the league, just seeing what was going on? Because you guys knew you had to win that game, but really, if you guys won that game, you'd be the 7th seed in the tournament.
Yeah, we tried. We kept that to ourselves a little bit. We didn't want any more pressure to be on the girls, and they take things seriously. They want to make each other proud, and they want to make us proud. And so we wanted to make sure that they were playing to the best of their ability, no matter what the outcome was going to be of our season. And so we were pacing back and forth a little bit the day before of what exactly has to happen during those games for us to be able to make it. And so it was a little stressful, and going into that second game and going into the last inning, just that our season's on the line. And but the girls didn't give up. They rallied with one another. They were so excited. It was really good to see that out of them.
Let's talk about the GLVC tournament a little bit. You guys go out in your first game. You take down number 2 Lewis. Lewis had a loaded roster this year, pitcher of the year on that roster. You guys beat them 4-1. Talk to me about that game and how your girls showed out.
Yeah. So going into that, the girls were seeded the 7th last year as well and came out conference tournament champions. So, getting seeded 7th again, that was kind of a little bit more of an exciting factor. I think that typically probably wouldn't be something that teams are too excited about, but we use that to our advantage, and knowing that we lost 2 in regular season to Lewis, and our girls they didn't want that to happen again, and we had prepped all week going and knowing who we're going to be facing and how great her arm is. She's a fantastic kid and a fantastic player, and it just hyped our kids up, and it was so exciting to be able to see. And there wasn't there wasn't any bad thoughts or negative thoughts going into that game, it's the best pitcher in our conference. No, everyone was excited, and they wanted to prove that we deserve to be there.
Yeah, and you guys go out the next game. You lose to Indianapolis, but you keep your season alive against McKendree, number 4 McKendree, down 7-5.
Yeah. So again, crazy games. Always Indy's always tough playing. They're competitive. They have a relatively young roster as well, and but some very gritty kids. And we knew that was going to be a challenging game going into it. And of course, with McKendree, we split with them in regular season, and our kids were again super excited for that game, and knowing that we're facing one of the top pitchers in the conference and in the region. And all 3 of those pitchers ended up in the national leaderboards of being All-Americans. And so you can look at it one of 2 ways. You can look at it as we're our backs into the wall, we're facing some of the best of the best, but we wanted to turn around and this is what we want to play at. This is the level that we're looking for, and our kids were excited to be able to face those arms. And beating those top teams out is always exciting. Being the 7th seed, and having our preseason ranking being low, and those are all things that kind of stack against you and build some fire underneath you. So.
And talk to me about that pressure going into the tournament. I'm sure as a first-time head coach, it was already pressure enough. You guys go in as the same seed that you were last year, and when you guys won the GLVC championship.
Yeah. If you let yourself think about it a little bit, you can get a little pressure. But knowing the adversity that we faced all year, it didn't matter what seed we were. We could have been 2. We could have been 7. It really didn't matter for us. We just wanted to go in and compete. And at that time of the year, everybody can win and everybody can lose, and so we didn't really focus on what seed we're at. We let it fire us up a little bit, like I said before, but we weren't locked in on we're the lower seed or they're the higher seed. We just wanted to win, and that's the goal at the end of the day.
Right. Talk about some individual standouts this season. Sydney Anderson, a .315 batting average. She blasted 12 home runs. That led the league. First team nominee for Anderson.
Yeah, super proud of that kid. One of the hardest workers that I've been able to coach and be around. She's a big time kid, and we're very fortunate to have her here at S&T. And she's a leader on and off the field, and wants the best for her teammates. And so to see her have that success herself is, it's just very uplifting for the rest of the team too, knowing how big of a team player she is, but how much she deserves it as well.
Yeah.
She pushes everyone around her, and like I said, she's one of the hardest working kids that we have.
And then Taylor Nelson, she actually led the team with a .320 batting average. She had 49 total hits this year, 12 doubles, 2 triples, and 8 home runs. Drove in 30. Talk to me about her first season with S&T.
Yeah, Taylor is a once in a time kid. She's high level, has one of the best IQs I've been able to coach and be around, and it's just super exciting to be able to see her excel here at S&T. She's an engineer major, and that's what drew her here, and we're very thankful for that. And the numbers she put up this year, against some of the best arms in the country, is just absolutely ridiculous. And she has a lot of growth still left in her, and she's working hard. She's been asking questions, and before the season's over, what do we need to get better at? And so several of our kids, they want to continue getting better. This isn't just what we want to produce. Like they're hungry to be better and to get better, and that makes me excited as a coach. You know, they want to be better, and they want to get to that, and so that's one thing, you know, you have to ask for as a coach. You know, we can't coach them, you know, wanting to be here and their effort, but those kids give it to us every single day, and so to see their success, it's just super exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys are losing 2 seniors. You're losing Sydney Anderson and Julia Canoy. I mean, those are the only 2 you're losing. It's a big hole that you have to fill, but the rest of the roster, I mean, looks pretty good returning, right?
Yeah, and we're very thankful. Sydney actually, she's going to stay on and be our student assistant this next year, so we still get to you know, learn from her, and she gets to pour back into the program as well. But yeah, losing just 2, you know, of course we're going to miss them tremendously, but returning a lot of starters and a lot of kids that got some playing time is a really big deal for us.
Yeah, and on the pitching side, you're returning Mia Miller, a 3.65 ERA. She threw 182 innings this season, a 3rd-team honoree in the conference. Talk to me about her first season with the Miners.
Yeah, so, you know, whenever I first met Mia, I knew that these things were capable for her. She's one of the oldest souls I've met in a freshman. She has a very, very high IQ, very hard worker, and a little bit of a perfectionist in that sense. Nothing's ever good enough for her, and I think that's why we saw so much success out of her. She was challenged early on. We just kind of threw her into the fire, and you know, like this is this is what we need you for, and you know, it was rough for a little bit, and she stuck through and you know, continued to ask questions and continued to get better, and she came out on the other side better for it, and I'm excited to see what she has her next 3 years here.
And then Julia Canoy, her last season, already mentioned her, but a 4.03 ERA. She threw 118 innings this year as well. Talk to me about her last season with the Miners.
Yeah, so Julia, you know, being a senior, she hasn't really been in, you know, a lot of tough situations her previous 3 years, and we were pretty shallow in our pitching staff, and early on we talked with me and Julia both like you guys are going to have to take the reins a little bit, and you know, there's no taking you out in the middle of a game because we only really have 2. One of our other pitchers, she was nursing an injury, and you know, so Julia stepped up big time for us, and she was a good leader. She does everything by example, and sets that tone for the other pitchers, and so we're thankful to have her part of our program and what she was able to contribute for us, and you know, we're definitely going to miss her for sure.
Yeah, and kind of talk to me about this summer. This is your first full summer with the Miners, really just first summer overall. Talk to me about the recruiting trail and how that's been going for your program.
Yeah, so in the fall we got a pretty heavy start on the 2026 class, where, you know, we have a few kids committed. There are going to be big program changes for us to be able to come in and contribute as freshmen, and we were able to snag a couple transfers this summer. And so those kids are coming in and kind of filling, you know, the role where Sydney's leaving and Julia leaving, and so, you know, we had some big shoes to fill with those 2, and you know, we found kids that we think are going to do a great job, you know, being able to step in and take the reins and be able to contribute to our success.
And especially in a conference like this, there's just so many loaded teams everywhere. And I mean, you as a first-time head coach, I think you and your assistant both believe you guys can be, you know, a powerhouse in this conference, right?
Yeah, you know, that's the goal. We can do it right here at S&T. We have the kids to do it, and that's something that we told them in the fall. Whenever we kind of released our spring schedule, and like, we know it's going to be tough, but you guys have what it takes, and for them to finally see that towards the end of the season, and they're excited for it, and you know, our conference is pretty tough. We have some of the best arms in the nation, and regionally we have some really great teams, and so, you know, ultimately, like, winning the conference, like, that's what we want, but, you know, we're setting our season up and setting our type of play up to make that region tournament so we can ultimately make the national tournament.
And how different is the recruiting trail here at S&T compared to other schools? I mean, obviously STEM is a huge part of it, but kind of talk to me about that compared to your other schools you've been at.
Yeah, so you know, obviously you have a certain group of kids with the STEM kids, and they're looking for something academically to push them and to challenge them, and you know, that's something that's honestly pretty easy to recruit to because kids want to come here, and that's such a big thing for our school here, and we want our program to be the exact same on the field, and so they're getting that both in the classroom and on the field here at S&T, and you know, that's just something you don't find in a lot of places, and you know, softball, you know, it's tough finding those kids sometimes, and you have to do your research and do the digging, and but just, you know, our kids, whenever they bring it on the field, you can tell that they want to be there. And academics is pretty tough here, and softball's fun for them, and it's not a job, it's not monotonous. Like they want to be out there, and they want to be pushing themselves on the field as well. So,
and obviously you're not unfamiliar with Missouri when you came here, but talk to me about Rolla. Kind of talk to me about the experience you've had so far. We've had a couple interesting events here in Rolla. Had a tornado a couple months ago. Just talk to me about your experience in your first year.
Yeah, so I'm from a really small town. I love that small town feel, and it's all that the community has to offer to the school. And coming to Rolla, I drove through Rolla several times as on my way to Columbia during school, and so I never really thought I'm gonna find myself living in Rolla one day. But we love it here. There's just enough to do to keep you busy, but there's also that slow town feel to where you can get away from everything. And, we have the river close by, and plenty of places to eat, and so we really love Rolla. Again, I didn't probably ever really see myself living here. Looking back in my career, but we're loving it so far, and it's been crazy. We got to experience our first St. Patty's Day this year, and we were playing that weekend, so we only got to stay around for a couple days, but. Just what the community has to offer to the school is, I think that's what probably draws people in a lot. And the tornado was wild. We were actually driving during all of that, so it was a little chaotic. But town bounced back, and I'm thankful that it didn't affect a whole lot here at the university. And our thoughts are with the town, and the local high school, their softball field didn't fare so well during all the damage. So we've been trying to work with them and help them out when we can.
You mentioned that you went to Mizzou. You obviously played there as well. Talk to me about your experience up there in Columbia. Obviously, a lot bigger school than here in Rolla.
Yeah, I love Columbia. It's graduating with the class of 32. It was a little bit of a culture shock in a sense, but being the athletics department, I think that's something that's really, really important, is how the athletes are able to pull together and create their own, little community, and that's something that I admire here at S&T as well. But, going to Mizzou, that's probably why I'm in my coaching career. I didn't really ever see myself as a coach, and I went to a JUCO my freshman year, and transferred then after that to Mizzou after that, and I was battling some injuries. I had ankle surgery and elbow surgery, and so I got to see a lot from the sidelines for a while, and that just really got my brain curious about how the whole game works. And so I'm really thankful for my time there, and what Coach Anderson was able to contribute to my coaching side of the game, and being able to teach me all that she did.
And she's just a legendary coach in the softball field, right?
Yes, she one of the best coaches I've ever seen, teaching coaches I've ever had. She just, the way that she explains things, and that's something that really inspires me, and I want my players to be able to understand me like we understood her. So. And
you kind of sitting on the sidelines, obviously with injuries, does that kind of relate to other players that you coach now? I mean, it gives a different perspective of the game for sure, right?
Yeah, I think injuries are something that's kind of hard to maneuver as a coach, and you want your kids to make sure they're taking care of themselves, and at the same time you want them giving all that they have to your program. And so being one of those kids, and how teammates respond to that, and how the coaching staff responds to that, it definitely it's definitely something on my heart. I want my kids to feel that we support them no matter what, but there's going to be injuries no matter where you go, no matter what sport you play. And I think having someone that understands you but's pushing you is a big part of how you come out of that. So.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thanks for joining us today. Do you have any closing thoughts here on Inside the Mind, episode 2?
Oh, well, I'm thankful to be here. Again, it's been a year for the books for sure, as a first-year head coach, first-year at S&T, and but I'm just overall thankful for all the schools offered, and I'm excited to see what athletics does here at S&T.
All right, well, that is episode 2 of Inside the Mind. Thank you for joining us, Coach. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.